In this video, we'll take a look at nanoLive 2 for the Korg Nano Control. This is actually a complete rewrite, so we'll go through the whole feature set because it's changed quite a bit. With the transport controls, you have mode up and down. In the center, you have play. On the bottom, you have shift, stop. Shift plus stop is undo. And then you have record. Shift plus record is clip record, which makes recording clips a little bit easier. The 9 strip is the master section. The fader controls Live's master fader. The buttons can move up and down scenes. These scroll if you hold them down. And if you press shift, these control the tempo in 1 BPM increments. And again, they scroll if you hold them down. The knob will move between Live's 3 main focuses. Right now I have the main focus selected. I can move down to the device focus or move to the browser focus. And this is useful for navigation, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. The controls on strips 1 through 8 change depending on which mode you're in, except for the faders. They always control volume for the 8 tracks in the selected bank. Alright, so right now I'm controlling tracks 1 through 8. I can move to the next bank, so I can control tracks 9 through 16, etc. In the first mode, the knobs control pan for the 8 tracks in the selected bank. The buttons control mute and solo. Now if you press these quick, they'll toggle, and if you hold them down, they turn into momentary switches. Alright, same for the solo switches. In the next mode, the knobs control the first 8 sends on the selected track. Alright, and you can select the track with the top row of buttons here. Alright, and the bottom row of buttons are ARM tracks. There's an internal takeover feature that eliminates parameter jumps when you're switching between all these different modes and banks. So let me just show you how that works real quick. This fader right here is controlling track 1 in Live. Alright, I'm going to bring this all the way down. Now I'm going to switch to the next bank. Now this fader is going to be controlling track 9 in Live. Now this fader is obviously not at the same value as the fader in Live. So normally what would happen, as soon as I move this fader, the fader in Live would jump down to meet it. But in this case, there's an internal takeover layer that waits until you meet the value of the fader in Live, and then you assume control over it. All right, and the same thing goes for all the knobs and faders. In the next mode, the knobs control the first 8 parameters on the selected device. And if the device has more than 8 parameters, you can switch between banks of parameters with shift plus mode up and down. All right, the top row of buttons launch clips, and you can select which clips these launch with the scene up and down buttons. All right, you can also stop clips with the bottom row of buttons. In the next mode, the knobs still control parameters on the selected device, and the buttons are used for navigation and user controls. The buttons on strips 1 through 4 are your navigation controls, so you can move around in session view. You can use the focus knob here to select devices, so you can move between devices, or you can move to the browser, so you can navigate around in there as well. Alright, and there's some additional browser functions. You can move between Live's browsers here. Alright, you can also, I'll just load this, I guess. You can load a clip onto a clip slot with just one button press here. And this is an enter button for loading devices and such. Alright, you can also open and close the browser here. The buttons on strips 5 through 8 are user assignable to menu functions in Live, and the way that works is a little bit different on the different operating systems. On OS X, you use a utility built into the operating system. That's all covered in the manual. But on Windows, you use the shell, and this allows you to assign the 16 functions to the user buttons.